Hi everyone, Joe Neat here, executive producer again. Just giving you an update from Rare about progress on Sea of Thieves. So firstly, I wanted to give an update around our plans for a weekly patch this week. Our intention was to get an update out to all of our players, which contained some of the features that I talked about last week. But actually, we ran into some issues just with an issue that was affecting some of our PC players on the build internally. We worked on it and we tried to resolve this issue. We couldn't resolve it in time, and so our only choices were really, do we release this build that has a known issue that's going to affect a portion of our player base, or do we hold on this and work on fixing it and then look to release a version of the game next week instead, which contains all of those features that I talked about last week. So we made the choice to go with the latter, so we're not releasing an update to players this week, but we will be doing so next week. Alongside that, we wanted to talk a little bit about feedback that we got on last week's update. So last week we released a bunch of new cosmetics to players, which broadly went down really well. But there was some valid feedback and criticism around a few kind of elements of that. One was there was a set missing. So we listed it in our build notes. Players were then going around looking for these in all of the shops. They couldn't find them, which was around the Sovereign set. Pretty frustrating again for us that we put something in the build notes that didn't actually make it into the build. A little bit of kind of cross wires and miscommunication internally on that. So we're looking at strengthening our kind of process around build notes, but that has now been added to the game. So in the next update, those will be available for players. Alongside that, there was some feedback that a few of the items weren't visually distinct enough. And upon reviewing that, we've totally agree. So we're going to be removing 8 of the offending items from the shop. And then finally, a few of the items were priced incorrectly, which I don't know if people were aware of or not, but we looked at it and we realised that some of them were actually priced a bit too high. So we've adjusted those prices. And for people who have already bought any of those items, when we adjust the prices and get that into the build itself, we will then be looking at who has already bought it and refunding the kind of difference in gold to any of those players via our customer service team. With next week's build, just wanted to give a little bit more information again around what's coming there. So public and private matchmaking is the big one, and that's really going to allow people to choose who they play with, manage their crews much more effectively, allow you to just play with friends, close out the public slots if you don't want them. And we're really looking forward to just seeing how that affects people, how people are using it, and really how it affects the play experience for everyone. The other ones are hiding your gamer tag underwater, which again is a bit of feedback we've had for a little while. I think it's going to be a really great kind of quality of life improvement for just generally when you're playing the game, allowing those stealthy, sneaky kind of tactics to really come into play a little bit more. And something else one of our engineers has just been kind of working on the side actually is around handing each other resources. We really like the ability now to be able to hand each other bananas if you're low on them, if someone's got loads, same with wood, same with cannonballs, just really kind of strengthening that kind of social bond between players. We've also made some changes to the drop rates. So as you progress through to the kind of higher levels in Sea of Thieves, you're going to be seeing far less of the castaway chests, which has been a big bit of feedback that we've been seeing from players. So it should feel much more balanced, and you should be getting higher rewards as higher players are kind of doing those higher rank quests. Alongside that, I wanted to give a bit of an update of just what's going on in the team. So as I mentioned last week, we've split the team into 3 different kind of game teams that are looking after each update. So there's the Hungering Deep, there's Curse Sails, and there's Forsaken Shores. And so the Hungering Deep team has the shortest lead time of each of those 3 teams in terms of the work that they're working and delivering it to players. But we felt it was important to get something out to players as soon as possible. So that's our goal for the Hungering Deep, is to give you a kind of some new content and deliver it in a kind of cool, fun, slightly different way to what we've shown before in Sea of Thieves, with a little bit of kind of like puzzle solving, a little bit of collaboration between players that's introducing some of these new mechanics to the world. And it is, like I said last week, it's a medium-sized update compared to the bigger updates that are going to be coming. But we really want to test out how does this new way of delivering content to our players work, take feedback from everyone, kind of see how it lands, and then move on and forward and kind of grow and evolve with our updates coming after that. So yeah, it's cool. I had a player yesterday. I'm really excited around this. Like, there's some tuning and balancing and tweaking and stuff we have to do with this. But yeah, I'm hoping players are really going to enjoy it. And we plan to release a trailer for that next week. So yeah, like sometime next week we'll be releasing a trailer. We're just finalising finalising the date right now, and we will be announcing the date as well, that's coming in May when we release that trailer. So something to look forward to for next week. Once we've released The Hungering Deep, we really want to move swiftly into that weekly events program. So there's a lot of work going on that right now to get everything in place that we need to for players. That's going to be super cool. I've been looking at that with a bunch of the designers, looking at the work that they're doing, what they're setting up for those weekly events. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to playing those out in the world and seeing how those go down. Aside from that, my focus personally has really been kind of looking beyond the next few kind of major updates that we've talked about publicly, and really looking at Sea of Thieves, for the next year. What is our strategy? Like, what are the things that we want to grow and evolve and add? Like, working closely with our senior design team and really looking at how can we bring all of those things the design team want to add to the game to all of our players. It's really cool and exciting to be looking at all of those plans, and also kind of challenging to be going, how do we go and accomplish all the things that we want to? But yeah, that's really where my focus is at the moment, and it's really exciting. So I think that's probably it that I had for all of my notes. But I kind of wanted to end by saying thanks to everyone that's been playing, that's been giving feedback, that's been sharing their stories, and these are the things that kind of, they make us tick, right? When we see these cool, creative stories that players are kind of coming up with in the game, they're sharing them, whether it's on the forums, it's on Reddit, or it's on YouTube, or on Twitter. It really just blows us away every time we see something that we just didn't expect players to do. So yeah, thanks so much for the people that are playing and having these amazing moments and stories and sharing them with the rest of the community. It's so cool to see. So yeah, that's my update for this week, and I will see you again next week, I imagine. So cheers, thanks very much.
Like and share if you enjoy the video and think others might benefit from this, and of course subscribe and hit the notification button if you are new to the channel and want to be notified every time I post a video.